Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and hello, and welcome to Books from My Library. My name is Kimolisa Mings. I am a reader, reader. I love to read and I love to write. Now, as a self-published author, I have to ask myself, how are readers going to find my books? And so I got to thinking about the books that are in my library and how I came across them, how I discovered them, and how they ended up in my library. And so here we have it, books from my library. Now, the three books for this week starts off with Shiny, okay, Snap Happy by Fiona Walker. Now, I got this, I feel I got it at the Best of Books in St. John's, and whoa, I've had this for a while. Now, what I didn't realize at the time was that a lot of books from Best of Books were British books as opposed to American books, and it's only like later on I was like, oh, no wonder there's so much chick lit books from England. Is because that's where they were getting it from, and I know I've read this at least twice. I really liked it. It was a matter where the main character was just so cringy. There were moments where it was just like, oh my goodness, she had a heart of gold, but you know what, she was just so angsty. And it was sweet and angsty, and you were rooting for her, and that is why I read it twice. And although I enjoyed it. It was just so much fun. It was a fun ride, and that's why I've even read it twice. Even my favorite book, one of my favorite books I haven't read twice, but I have read this twice, and that's why it looks so ratty-tatty and faded and everything, because it was such a good book. And although I've read another of Fiona Walker's books, this is still my favorite. So I come across this at Best of Books, and I'm so happy I snapped it up. Snap Happy. And that is how I discovered this particular book. Now, I'm starting to feel as though Best of Books, I am advertising for Best of Books, because this other book, Sharper Than a Serpent's Tooth by Simon R. Green is another find at Best of Books. And to be honest, it's not something I normally would read, but the cover was just so trippy that I just like snatched it up. And it was just such a trippy cover that I was just like, I don't think I can leave this behind. And the story was also so trippy, you know. It was just like such a world away from whatever I would normally read. And, you know, I just kept reading. And it's strangely enough, I think the main reason is that I don't think they had any more of his books, but I feel like I should really check out more of his books, because I would say it kind of gives me a Harry Dresden but trippier vibe, you know. Yeah, it's like Jim Butcher's Harry Dresden's world, but trippier, like on acid. Not on marijuana, on acid. Yeah. Not saying I've ever did that acid, but that's how I feel it would be. But, you know, I appreciate this book. It's a quick read, and it was just so worth it to the end. Yeah. And why I'm kind of like, what? Is because at the back of it, there's even Jim Butcher. We're promoting some of Jim Butcher's books. so it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? So that's my second book, which was found also at Best of Books. And the third book, which is normally a nonfiction, this is from the Fearless series, Inner Talk for a Confident Day, Love That Works, and Peace of Mind, from Susan Jeffers, PhD. And this too I got from Best of Books, and it's one of those books that I saw and I was like, yeah, I would like this. And it was more because I think I was coming into that space of mind where I should look into affirmations, and I was exploring affirmations. And what it was with this particular book is that at the start of the day, after I get ready and everything, I used to, just before I went out the door, I would just flip it open and just like read whatever I came across. And as you can see, it's just like a few lines on each page, and it is just something to just sink into your mind. And I think also why I was pretty much drawn to this book was the cover, which speaks to an era, I would say maybe late 70s, maybe early 80s kind of look to me. Oh, it's actually the 90s. Interesting. Yeah. So it actually spoke to an era, and it was something that I kind of felt like I needed, you know. Oh, I didn't even realize that it was the author who wrote Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, and End the Struggle and Dance with Life. So, for the 3 books that I had gotten, that's in my library, these were actually books that I came across at the Best of Books bookstore, which just shows the importance of bookstores, because there's some fun and enjoyment of just walking in and just meandering and letting something draw you in. And in my case, it was Snap Happy, which also it has an interesting cover. I didn't mention it before, but to say that it's bright yellow. In the middle is a chair, and it has legs sticking out of it in a parrot, and all the elements is just like, what is that about? And every now and then I would stop and be like, so how exactly are these 2 people on this chair? But okay. So as I was kind of got drawn away, Best of Books, found it at a bookstore, and also found at a bookstore, Best of Books, but it has a trippy cover. I found this quite interesting, and I just couldn't put it down. And I will be looking for more of his books. Hopefully he's still writing, and hopefully I can find his work, and hopefully I can snag another book. And then once again, Best of Books, and it was more because it was something that I needed, something that I wanted in my life, mentally, and like finding peace of mind, which is funny because it also says for peace of mind I'm reading right now. Anyway, thank you for joining my meanders through my library, and I hope to see you next time. Cheers, and see you. Have a great week.